Hi, good morning. Today, welcome to KavetiLaw series. Today's topic is bankruptcy laws, and we have Mr. Peter Joseph, who is a very senior attorney in America with 50 years of experience. And his educational background is he has done his bachelor's of political, science, political theory in University of California in Berkeley, and he has a JD Juris Doctor degree, which is equivalent to a law degree in LLB in England or any other part of the world from Harvard Law School. So he's an Ivy League graduate with 50 years of experience as an attorney, admitted in California and in New York, and he specializes in bankruptcy. In more than 20 years, he's been practicing bankruptcy law, and he's here with us today to share his wisdom to the audience, so that people are calling us and they have questions about chapter 7, chapter 11. These are very complicated areas in bankruptcy code. So he's the specialist here. He's going to talk about different types of bankruptcy, who can file, and is it individuals can file or corporations can file, whether they have to be citizens or green card holders or even non-immigrant workers. Mr. Peter, welcome to our series. Thank you very much for taking time to come and speak to us. And today we would ask you certain questions on bankruptcy laws and how the bankruptcy is filed and how much it costs and what is the time frame and everything. Would you be able to tell us what is actually a bankruptcy?
A bankruptcy is a procedure that is provided to help people that are overloaded with debt. And you can go into court and get the debt eliminated, and then you can go on with your life.
Okay,
It's a great benefit offered by the law.
perfect. And when you say debt, what sort of debts are there? Are they secured debts or unsecured debts?
There are basically two kinds of debt. Unsecured debt is credit card debt.
Okay,
Secured debt is debt that is secured by property.
gotcha.
Like if you have a car loan,
Right.
the loan is secured by the car.
Okay. So that means, would that apply to a house as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And how can somebody can file a bankruptcy?
Anyone can file a bankruptcy. It's best to do it with an attorney. It's very complicated. And then you will meet with the attorney, and the attorney will have to fill out probably 12 separate schedules. It's all done electronically.
Okay.
And then the information needed for the schedules comes from the client.
And when you say it's schedules is, there's all the schedules which are prescribed by law. And can they contact you over the phone, or they have to personally come and see you?
Can be done over the phone.
Okay. So they can share the information online on an email, and then you can interview them, and then you can file bankruptcy.
Yes,
Correct.
and I need the documents that we'll talk about a little.
Okay.
I need the documents too.
What sort of documents you require for filing a bankruptcy?
I need to see the Social Security card.
Okay.
They're going to need 2 years of federal filings.
Okay.
If you haven't filed because you don't need to, that's okay.
Okay.
And then also bank statements.
Right.
3 months of bank statements.
If they're married, is it for both husband and wife, or it can? How does it work? If they're
You can file as husband and wife.
Okay.
There's a little saving because it's one filing fee for 2 people.
Okay.
However, to get into later subject, the wife's income will be imputed to you.
Okay.
And I say that because there's a fairly new requirement that if you earn too much money, you can't do Chapter 7. You have to do Chapter 13.
Okay. So how many types of chapters are there in bankruptcy? What types of chapters are there?
Well, there are 7, 11, and 13 and 11.
Okay. So these are all under the bankruptcy law.
Yes.
So the bankruptcy law, is it a federal law or a state law?
It's a federal law.
So that means it's applicable to all over United States of America, 50 states.
Correct.
Okay. So when somebody is declared bankrupt by the bankruptcy court in New York, so that will have a full faith and credit in California or other parts of the country.
Yes.
Gotcha. So that means it's recognized all over the country.
Yes, it's a decree of the federal court.
Decree of the federal court. That's good, very good. And when you say that, so the corporations and individuals can file.
Yes.
When you say corporations, what sort of corporations? They could be a small and big and medium, or okay. Can you a little explain about that?
Well, previously only Chapter 11 was for big corporations, like when General Motors filed bankruptcy years ago. But recently there was a change to the law, and now small businesses can file bankruptcy and go on operating their business while they carry out a plan.
Excellent. When somebody is declared bankrupt by the federal courts in America, would this be recognized by Canada and other parts of the world?
I believe it would.
Okay, perfect. So when somebody is declared bankrupt, how long does it stay on a credit report?
It stays on by law 10 years, but that's just technical. What you need to do after you file is go on working and build up your credit.
Okay. And normally how much it costs for filing a bankruptcy for an individual?
For Chapter 7, it's basically $3,000. For Chapter 13, it's basically $5,000. For the small business Chapter 11, it's basically $5,000.
Okay. So that's the attorney fees, and plus there is a filing fees, I assume, right?
Correct.
For different corporations.
Correct.
Okay. And before filing a bankruptcy, would they have to take some counseling by financial advisors?
Yes, by law, you must take credit counseling. This is a handout from the company that I use,
Okay.
and it's no cost to the client.
Okay.
They bill me, and they can either do it by phone or online.
Okay. Perfect. And can students who have credit cards debts, can they file bankruptcy?
Yes, if they have a social security card, yes.
So that means under the law, it doesn't define whether you're a permanent resident or a citizen or a student or a non-immigrant worker. Anybody who has a social security card and who has debts, and are there any other requirements to file bankruptcy?
Yes, as long as they've lived in the jurisdiction where they're filing for 18 months.
18 months is the time which they have to live under that court's jurisdiction.
Correct.
So they can go and file it.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say somebody files a bankruptcy. Would an employer can fire them because they filed a bankruptcy?
No, that is illegal because you have a right to file bankruptcy.
Okay. And let's say if somebody is declared bankrupt, would that hinder and jeopardize employment opportunities in the future?
It could, because employers will look at your credit report and the bankruptcy will be on your credit report.
Okay. So that means people who are filing bankruptcy have to keep that in mind, that it also could jeopardize their opportunities, employment opportunities.
That's correct, or their renting opportunities also.
Or renting opportunity. That means if they're going for a rent, the landlord could run a credit, and if they see that these guys are being declared bankrupt, so they might not be able to get the apartment for rent.
Yes, but it would be better if before they've been applied for the apartment, they've been working for 6 months or 8 months, and they can see that you're a stable earner.
Gotcha. And how long this process will take, Counselor?
That's a very good question. The first part of the process is the attorney preparing all the schedules. Depending on circumstances, that usually takes a month or more. Once you file, the immediate effect is that you are protected from anyone filing any process against you. There's a stay that goes into effect that protects you.
So it's automatic stay.
It's an automatic stay.
So that means all these credit card companies or lenders who have lended you money, they can't harass you.
They cannot.
That's perfect. That's a protection.
That's the
given
protection
by the law.
And then after you file with 7, it's usually was say 5 to 6 months. With COVID, things may be stretched out a bit,
Okay.
but it's relatively short.
Okay.
But with 13, as I said before, it takes 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
It's a long period.
And
With 11, it's about 6 months for that special provision.
once they file a bankruptcy, I mean, what are the other protections they would have? Would by filing a bankruptcy, would it affect their immigration status if somebody is on an H-1B or a student, if they're looking for getting their green cards? Would that affect getting a green card?
It should not, because you have a right to do it under the federal law.
Good. That's so that means any non-immigrant worker who is in America, who is a student or anybody who's on a J-1 or a non-immigrant visa, if they have more debts, which their liabilities are more than their incomes, they can, as you advise, that they can file bankruptcy. That should not have any impact on their green card processing.
Well, I would not be too sure, because if you're applying for a green card, they want to know if you're financially stable.
Right.
This might affect that.
Got you. But would that bar from getting a green card, because it's not a crime?
No, it should not bar
It should
legally.
not.
No.
Okay. So that means it would have some influence on getting green card, but it's not a bar if they file a bankruptcy and get declared bankrupt. So that's what you mean to say.
Correct.
And how long when somebody contacts you when you file a bankruptcy, do they have to come to the court for the appearance before the court?
Yes, there is one meeting after you file. Within probably a month, you meet with a trustee. The trustee is an attorney, an employee of the Justice Department, a regular private attorney, but they work for the Justice Department, and they conduct what's called the 11 U.S.C. 341 meetings, and he's the gatekeeper.
Right.
He will go through all your documents, and he wants to know that everything is proper and that you've not misled them.
Yes.
And if he's satisfied, he will close the meeting, and then all that is left is for the judge to approve it.
And during this process, I mean, because of this COVID restrictions, are the courts functional now? Do they have to physically come and do it?
No, they don't. As recently, you don't go in person. You do it by Zoom or you do it by telephone.
Perfect. That's a brilliant answer you gave it to clients who are going to call us. The other thing is, what are the documents other than Social Security number and the bank statements? What are the other documents you require? Do you need their green card or citizenship or a passport, or you just need any ID?
It's the Social Security card is the main document.
And if the client sends you those documents and shares those bank statements and the fees, you can start the process.
Yes.
Perfect. And do you want to give any advices? Do you give advices over the phone, or do they have to personally come and see you?
Well, I can start over the phone, and then if we're actually going to do the process, I will need to either meet them in person or meet them by Zoom or talk on the telephone.
Okay. And do you charge anything for initial consultations?
No, I charge nothing.
Perfect. And do you send them a retainer or something if you want, if they
Yes,
want to retain
yes,
you?
I always send a retainer, yes.
And so are there any other costs associated with this other than the professional fees and the filing fees?
None.
Okay, perfect. So that's a good news. Mr. Peter Joseph has been handling different chapters of bankruptcy. So he's a very well experienced attorney, and his offices are in New York, and he's our off counsel to our firm. So if anybody's interested, you can contact us. Do you do any other litigations other than bankruptcy?
Yes, I do general practice.
Okay. That means anybody with any problem with domestic law or civil litigation, contract law, corporations, you can handle all of that. So that's brilliant. So thank you very much, Mr. Peter, for giving us this time. It was we would like to do more videos on bankruptcy. So next videos will come up with chapter 11, chapter 7, and chapter 13. We will go in detail. Thank you very much, and thanks very much. If you like this video, please share with your friends and family. If they have any questions, you can contact us, or you can contact Mr. Peter. And please give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.